Council meeting for the 31st of July. We will open with our karakia all together. Thank you. I've got an apology for lateness for Councillor Hayward, and obviously Councillor Johnson's on leave. So can I move that? Seconded by Councillor Trillin. All those in favour? All those against? Carried. Now we've got two public speakers this morning. First of all, we've got Mr. and Mrs. Sulusi. If you'd like to come up, I'm going to get Mike to introduce this one.
Thanks, Mayor Baker. Good morning, councillors. You might recall a couple of weeks ago I gave you a briefing on some issues with flooding we have around the district. And one of the places I showed you a photograph of was in Thompson Grove. So Mr. and Mrs. Sulusi own the property of the photograph that I showed you. So they have requested to come along this morning and to speak with you about the challenges that they're having. Just a reminder that the property was flooded inside in 2015. It came close a couple of weeks ago. But I'll hand over to Fellini and Porirua to speak with you about the issues that they're having at their property.
Good morning, everybody. It's a privilege to be here. It's a bit scary too. I'd like to apologise for coming with no notes. It's just the notes that we sent. It's just that my daughter's been in hospital. She just came out yesterday, but it's an honour to be here to present our case for our street. We are at 4 Thompson Grove. This is my husband, Porirua. And I'd like to thank you for coming as well, to Matt and the guy that came and visited us when we sent our case. The reason why we're really here, we had 3 major flooding. The first one, when my sister was here, we had those canoes going up and down. And then the second one was 2015. That's when we stayed at a Hope Motel for 3 months. And the recent one was just last month. It's just that my husband, every time it heavy rain, my husband and my my son-in-law, and he's switched the torch around all our street because we can't travel in the middle of the road to where our neighbours. And, okay, I think I better stop and he can do, because he's the one that does all the work outside. Thank you. Oh,
Talo Falava, good morning, everybody. Before I speak, my language is not good, but I'm very hard to fight in English.
You can speak in your language and Carolyn can translate for you.
Okay, I try my best.
Is it well? Yeah,
I try my best. If something is, can't, and then
not a problem.
See about. Shortly, we there about 40, nearly 50 years in this address. But there was 3 times of very strong flooding. The very bad flooding, 2015. Everything's my car right off in front of my house. And everything is bad. And we leave and we stay on a motel 3 months and then repair everything. The insurance cover everything. But the last month, I think, I saw that, and then bad, we can't go outside. The water on the fish step on my house. But down the street, if you go there, all the water will be here. That's why when the flooding finished last month, and said to myself, I want to do something. And then I go and talk to all the 28 families in my street, and they very support us. But the bad are flooding on my side, number 4. And then if hard, and then all the street can't go. They use the mountain to walk. On the last time, on 2015, they walk to go to buy something. All our streets are affected, can't use a car. From those flooding, I remember Winnie Laban, secretary, sent to our house, and we talked to that. After that, Fa'afoi, I tell him when he come and doing the campaign on the corner of our street before the election, and I talked to him about that problem, and then okay, but now it's nothing happened, and then that 2015, I saw city council men, they come and doing a drain in front of us. And then I thought, that's sorted up the problem, but it's not. And then in this time last month, and I thought it still happened. And then when I walked to the street when the water going down, and I saw the number 18, the water come from outside, the behind of that. The problem is not our street. The problem from other side of the water. But our street is not the water from our street. That from other side. And Tony and Mac come to my house and we walk and then show there. After that, I think last week, there was a workers, they come with the bulldozer or whatever, the machine, and they go and clear behind of that. And I already catch a photo of that when they work last week. I saw that the drain is going like that, and the water will be going down. That the water will be going under, but can't, it's full. That's why the water, the river, Tony, they come up the top and come to our street very strong. And the end of our street, the other waters come from up there. That's why the water very strong. Champion, Winley, they all come together down here. And then that's why I look at that. That's the problem of us. But our street is no water like that. It's not water. It's not our street. From other. And I say to myself, many times happen of this. And I say to myself, we pay the rate of our house. It's if like the other things I'm strong to doing this. That number 18, there was 3 boys, little kids. They always play behind their house. There's other things I always looking on that boys. That's family. The family will be only 3 years there, but they are Asian family. And I talk to them, they very happy. And when I walk to the street, they all support what we're doing to do that, like what I sent, their sign to support of us. That's a short to me. But if you hear what I say, we live there. The house will be her father's house, and we buy it. But this family, they've been there more than 60 years. But I buy their house from the dad. We've been there 42 years. And all our kids, they born here. That's a story, I think, the city council and the boss, and sorry about my language.
Your language is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Mike, can you give us an update on what the diggers were behind things before we open it for questions?
Sure. So the Salusi's place is the low-lying part of the catchment, is police just described. There is a reserve up the road where the mud was, and there's an inlet into the reserve. Hadn't been well maintained, so the digger that the Salusi's are talking about was Wellington Water. doing some maintenance to clear out that inlet, and that contributes to the catchment. There are some design things we can look at, and we are looking at for this part of Porirua, but it is a low-lying part of the catchment. But we can also up our ante with the maintenance, making sure the sumps are always clear.
Okay, thank you. Izzy?
Sorry, Mike, can you just confirm 18, the address that Mr. Sailusi was referring to, what is the street?
It's Thompson.
Still Thompson.
It is Thompson,
It's the whole of Thompson Grove.
but it's above. Le whale lei lunga lei sau e le vai.
Yeah, the behind of that,
Is the bank.
that's from Mayor Street at the top.
Mayor
there.
Street.
And then the
Mayor
hill
Place.
was going like that.
So there
That's
was
the
bank
water
behind
come
them.
from there.
Yeah. le-
Okay. Anyone else?
Sorry,
Yes.
one more question. Wo lo fia la le me lai whamai le council, I le solution lai whamai Mike,
Yeah.
o lua fia.
Yes, that two fits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are they happy with the solution that Mike has said just then? With with the works you're doing?
These are steps we can take that we hope will mitigate the problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was, sorry.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say, is as long as they're doing that, and it will fix the problem. But I'm just looking at the river that comes from behind Holy Family. Because sometimes a lot of rubbish comes through, and like when the drains get blocked, the things come up, like, so, I just want the thing fixed, but
So is the
there's
maintenance
two
on
of
that?
two of our neighbourhoods has moved out.
The other things I remember that night, a month ago, when the flooding come up, and then it's lucky the rain only 15 minutes heavy. If I'm thinking the rain about an hour, gone. And thanks God when the rain stopped. And when we stopped going down, and I said to my son-in-law, the time to us to clean the road, because the dirty like that, the time to us to hose. And then the city, I think the guy come with a little truck, and he from, I think here or some other company, they doing the contract of that. And I asking, and he showed to me 6 of the place, the least, he go in and look after that night. And that's for Thompson come. And when he come, the river is gone. And me and my son-in-law, we clean the road because we thinking about other people when cross, if try. And then all the dust coming and affect us. That's why we cleaning on that. We sleep on 2:00 a.m. on that night. We doing the good things for other people and my family.
Thank you very much for doing that. So the maintenance schedule, Mike, then is at the bank at the top. How often will that be done?
So we're redesigning that
Okay.
so that it doesn't need regular maintenance. So that's the inlet that Lee's talking about. There are sumps down the bottom, those drains down the bottom of they're called sumps, where the water goes in. We're having a look at the design of those to make sure they're up to spec. It is still a low-lying part of the catchment.
Yeah.
Sorry, when the water still here, I try to go to the train in front of me. I tell my son, go and bring this wall. Go and bring that, and we go to try this train to, and when we doing that, and we saw the water is going like that.
Yeah.
Then I tell my son, the water go through. That means all these blocking the rubbish.
Yeah.
And we walk, and the neighbor hear the noise of that night, and they coming out and move their car away. And we work together with that guy. And then that's happened with that. And before I finish, I was, thank you very much for answer quickly when you come to my place and I said to myself, God answer our prayer. Thank you for saving of our family and other people. And my daughter says my baby, 36 years old, is very sick. That's why when I saw that, and I tell her, my son-in-law, prepare and go up there. Because my daughter is
She's on dialysis,
dialysis.
but they can't work out.
Prepare,
She's got to get in and out.
prepare and go up there. The little house up there.
Like one, but
Just
it's going through
prepare with the water
complications.
on the steps. And there's other reason I will be telling you.
Thank you very much for coming in, and I'm pleased that Mike is onto it, and I'm sorry for the 2015, but Kylie has got a question for you.
Can I just check that this particular area being low lying is checked by our contractors when we know that there's bad weather coming, like they do in other areas?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of critical sumps and hotspots. So yes, it is absolutely on the list of critical sumps. Yep.
Councillor Leggett.
To prolong it, can I ask Mike again as well, what the sump solution that you're talking about, does that and will that help mitigate the problem, you believe? Are you going to make bigger sump or, I mean, because that's, you know, there is no easy long-term solution. We know it's about pipe diameters and
Yes. So we're still working through the design, but there's like 3 chambers there. We could make the chambers bigger. So under
Right.
the drain, there's a big, it's called a chamber. It's a big pit. We could increase the size of those chambers. May not solve the problem, but it will certainly help to mitigate it.
yeah.
Councillor Philo.
Yeah, just to follow on from that, are there any other mitigations that, apart from the ones you've just, the 2 options that you've talked about, that could help solve this?
With respect to stormwater, there are plenty of things we could do around maintenance and design, but it's a low-lying part of the district. So yep, we do what we can, yep.
So that's the answer is that there's no others in what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a magic, any
Last
magic, but there are
question.
things we can do.
Councillor Hayward.
Kia ora kouroumatua. I was way late, but I was able to listen to most of your korero in the car, the wonders of modern technology. My question is to officers. Can our councillors receive an update on the work and mitigations that are being proposed so that we can be made aware of the progress that has been made as we move forward?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you both for coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our last speaker this morning is come in by himself. Blade, would you like to come up? I see Cassius is not with you. He's come to talk to us about his seaweed project, and he specifically wanted to see Ngāti Tawa. So Taku's at the table for you. He came and saw me in the office. You didn't bring a presentation, did you, today? Maybe you can get it by email. Just push the button. That's all right. Fire away.
Cassius was supposed to make the presentation.
So it's on you.
Yeah, pretty much.
This might get you into Taku again.
Hi, kia ora koutou. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I'm here to propose a practical, nature-based solution to support the council and iwi efforts in improving the water quality of Titai Bay. What I'm specifically asking is to establish small seaweed farms using native kelp species to help absorb pollutants from the wastewater discharge in the bay and heavy metals within wastewater that is untreated. As we all know, Titai Bay is ecologically affected by discharges from the wastewater treatment plant. The visible impact includes brown water, unpleasant smells, and community concern around the long-term environmental health of the bay. The council and iwi are already working hard to address this issue, and what I'm proposing can complement those efforts. Seaweed is a natural filter. It absorbs excess nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, as well as heavy metals and toxins that come from treated wastewater and untreated wastewater. Unlike artificial systems, seaweed doesn't require energy or chemicals. It simply grows, absorbs, and stores them safely within its tissues. I'll be focusing on two specific native species, Eclonia radiata, which is a commonly known as common kelp, and Dervelea, also known as bull kelp. Eclonia is fast growing, especially in conditions of a nutrient-rich environment like Titae Bay, but it would need to be harvested every 2 to 3 months to prevent the stored pollutants from re-entering the environment. Bull kelp is slower to grow and more robust, and it can be harvested every 3 to 4 months, making it a low-maintenance species that is ideal for longer-term pollution uptake. Seaweed farms would be located in 2 zones further away from the wastewater discharge site, but further away from the public as well. I would use rope lines secured to anchored floats or structures to grow the seaweed, which is a method already used successfully in other coastal environments. These farms wouldn't interfere with swimming areas or boating routes, and their design would be tailored to the local tides and weather conditions. Once harvested, the kelp, however, cannot be used for food or garden compost because it would absorb heavy toxins and heavy metals. That is why I'd ask the council to support the safe disposal of the harvested seaweed at somewhere like Spicer Landfill, I don't know. By doing this, we can ensure that the pollutants removed from the water are safely taken out of the ecosystem. Harvesting the kelp regularly is crucial. If left too long, it will decompose in the water and re-release the pollutants back in the bay. Whereas with a consistent harvest schedule every 2 to 4 months, depending on the species, we can make sure the system remains effective and safe. This project offers many benefits for the council. It adds a visible, environmentally friendly solution that aligns with Porirua's long-term environmental goals and climate commitments. For the community, it shows that action is being taken to care for a taonga, a treasured local area. It could also involve local volunteers, schools, environmental groups, creating opportunities for education and engagement around marine sustainability and mātauranga Māori. I'm asking for council's permission pretty much to set up rope-based seaweed rafts using Eclonia radiata and Dervelea in 2 zones of Titae Bay. It requires very, very minimal funding, just rope, seaweed commitment, and council support. Seaweed isn't just a passive plant, it's a natural tool that can help us restore the balance toward Titae Bay, and by supporting this, Porirua can take another step towards a cleaner coastline with minimal cost and maximum ecological benefit. Interestingly, researchers at Waikato were given over $2 million to test the same concept, and in the last 3 years, they've made very little progress. This project is different. It's local, it's simple, and it would have real environmental outcomes. This is a low-cost, high-impact project that builds on natural systems and supports the council's sustainability goals. The project would also support the council's Te Awaroa vision to restore the health of our waterways, and it aligns with Porirua's commitment to clean beaches and climate resilience. Cleaner water means more community engagement, better health outcomes, and a restored marine ecosystem. It also gives Porirua a chance to lead Aotearoa in community-based climate solutions, because surprisingly, there's only like 2 people in the country who are really doing this at the moment, but not for the same intentions. This proposal isn't a theory, it's a practical solution. Seaweed absorbs what wastewater leaves behind. Let's act before more damage is done. I'm not asking for millions of dollars or years of study. I'm asking for a chance to let youth work side by side with people who make big decisions in the council on a big issue in Porirua, and to let us all contribute to the issue. If you give me permission, I will try my hardest to get results within this term alone, and I would like to invite some of you guys to the marine exhibit at Mana College at the end of this term, where if you give me permission, you'd not only be hearing the progress of this project, but see it and many other students' efforts in wastewater of Titae Bay. Thank you.
Thank you, Blade. Blade and Cassius came into my office and showed me their presentation. So that's why I asked them to come in, because it's actually really interesting. So thank you. I've got Mike first. I should say Councillor Duncan, we're a full council.
Thanks, Babe. That's quite a bit of research you've done there. It's pretty impressive stuff. You mentioned in it that there are other coastal environments using it. Do you have some specifics there about where it is in use?
Well, there are ones in around Wellington. There's a group known as Mountains to Sea. So what they do is they go about like restoring seaweed environments in those areas that have been affected and pretty much lost those environments. So what they go about is about restoring it, but the intentions for this with seaweed is different. It's more for wastewater mitigation. Yeah.
Councillor Trillin.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming in. This is really fascinating. I just wanted to ask you a bit about where this idea originally came from. So how did you come up with this idea? Is it something you'd seen somewhere else? Is it an original idea that you had?
Well, no, it's not an original idea at all. It's used all around the world, actually. But where we got the idea was actually from our marine studies teacher, Miss Anderton, at our school. But we were honestly just joking in class, like one day, like, Miss, would you give us a high grade if we just went and saved the whole bay? and yeah, she said yeah. So we were like, all right, what's a way we could do that? And yeah,
Brilliant.
that's pretty much how it happened.
That's fantastic. And in terms of if this was to go ahead, how do you see this operating in the long term? Do you see this as like something that eventually like council would be controlling? Do you see it as like a volunteer thing or run by Mana College? Or how would you like it to be run long term, do you think?
I don't think Mana College has much interest in the environment, but that's just because like it's not necessarily an issue for us right now. The youth, it's not really an issue for us right now. It's more like an issue for like in the future when it's actually our problem, and it's not like we necessarily get affected in our daily lives by it. So I don't think Mana College is really an option, but I would be really keen for volunteers to do it, but the problem with that is whether volunteers are committed to going into wastewater and harvesting the kelp. But obviously, safe zones are wastewater, but it just matters whether there are volunteers and whether they can do it and harvest it properly and dispose of it properly.
Yeah, thank you. And my last question was just around, so you'd said you're asking council's permission to be able to do this, and that it would require some minimal funding. So is that something that you would like to apply to council for funding for, or do you think this could be something funded from the community in a different way?
Whichever way really works to get the resources. To be honest, all I really need is like just heaps and heaps of rope. Just make like a really, really big net with thick rope, and then in the middle of it, like little boxes in between with little rope. Like it's pretty much just a big net, and then adding something to float at least 1 meter under the surface of water. So that's really all it requires. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, just a couple of things. Whereabouts in the bay would you put this though? Did you notice?
Somewhere around just wherever where it's like safe to like plant it, where I won't get like infected, like just somewhere like kind of safe to go and place the seaweed rafts. Because if we put it like too close to the pipe, then they're just going to get a nutrient overload. Yeah, so you got to put it in a safe zone, really.
Cool. The other thing is that we can connect you up with our environmental team.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
At the iwi.
Right.
They'll be really interested in that stuff.
Told you it would work.
Only because, do you come across what we call karino? Have you heard of seaweed karino?
No.
That we eat like a salad?
Oh, I have heard of it. Yeah, I didn't really research that one much.
Yeah. Have you got any of the good stuff? Can you put it aside?
I don't think you'll want any seaweed growing in wastewater.
Okay, I've still got 3 more. Councillor Philo.
Hey, thanks for coming in, Blade, and for bringing environmentally friendly solution and as you say, a low cost, high impact.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other ways that could just completely solve the issue as well. Oh, you want me to share? I mean, if you had like 34 concrete blocks, like from construction, and you just put them in the bay and placed 150 green-lipped mussels in each one, then you'd be mitigating about 1 million like liters of wastewater per day. And that's because like one singular green-lipped mussel on its own can filter like 200 liters of water. But then again, that would also require like harvesting 25% of them like every 12 months. Yeah.
You definitely need the context of the iwi for him, please, Taku.
Sorry, that was my question. So lots of my questions have been asked already, but I was wondering, with the funding, have you costed it out at all?
I think I'd need a CE for that, to be honest. I think I'd have to just rely on like completely rope and something heavy to weigh it down on the water, really. Okay. Yeah.
And I'd be keen on seeing your presentation too. If we could have that email, that'd be great.
Councillor Ford.
Oh, yeah.
Blade, that was awesome. A lot of my questions have been asked already. I wondered if you thought about health and safety costs. The two groups that you talked about that had different intentions, you've mentioned one of the reasons that they did this. What was the other one, the other group?
The Waikato researchers?
Waikato, yeah.
Well, I mean, they've been given $2 million by not only their iwi, but also their local council.
Yeah.
And they did this like 3 years ago, and they just haven't really achieved anything. No research has come out since in that 3 years, and also their wording just kind of tells me a lot as well. They say as a potential way of mitigating wastewater, like it's not potential, it mitigates wastewater. It absorbs nitrate, it takes in exits nutrients from waste.
Yeah, it's
Like,
cool.
it's scientifically proven.
And I mean, it sounds like you said that mana college aren't really interested in this, but just listening to you, it sounds like there's someone there that is, and perhaps you're planting the potential seed for the future. I also love that you have the reality around volunteers, and actually it depends on the quality of our volunteers. We don't know if we're going to have them. It's just basic. We say that there's going to be volunteers, but actually reality is we don't know if we will get the volunteers to do it. So yeah, I like that. That's all I want to say.
Two finals. Councillor Leggett.
Sorry, it's not to you, Blade, it's to officers. Is permission ours to give?
I think it's GW.
Regional council consent.
Yeah, regional council.
Regional Council. But we can support. Yeah. And last question, Councillor, are we happy?
Oh, no, thank you. You answered my question on one Waikato, but I can see how passionate you are about this. You're obviously a Titahi Bay local. Are you Titahi Bay local?
On the outskirts of Titahi Bay, yeah.
Okay, Jeff, very last one.
I won't hold you up, Blade, but thank you moto whakaaro I tēnei ata. A very simple concept. Ahakoa he mātou tini. I would love to have a sit down with you because I would like to get into the weeds of it. I've just been reminding myself of the floating wetlands projects up in Rangiruturu and Lutuehu, which won't necessarily work in this context, but could work in a very similar way to what you're describing. Kia ora.
So, Blade, you happy if I give your email address out?
Sure.
Only to the councillors, not everyone online.
Yeah, that's
Taku will then be able to come back with some context, and I'm sure we can do a bit better.
like any questions I can definitely answer. Like there are definitely other ways we can fix bodies of water in Porirua. It doesn't even have to be salt water; it can definitely be fresh water. But again, it just really comes down to harvesting it and whatnot.
Thank you so much for coming in. I think you got some of the answers you asked for because we were looking at funding when we met.
Yeah.
We weren't talking big money, hence the reason he's here. So we can discuss that, and I think you've got some really good interest in some context. And we'll talk later.
Yeah, just to reply to what Ford said.
Izzy.
Izzy. I mean, we do have a marine studies class, but it's a very, very small class, and most of them aren't necessarily involved in high impact solutions. Like I've offered them to be a part of the project, but they wanna go ahead and get shells and sell them. But yeah, and yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Blade. Well done, thank you. Okay, councillors, we're moving to any conflicts of interest. I haven't had anything. That would be a no. No notification of extraordinary business. So we move to the confirmation of the minutes from the council from the 26th of June. The amendment is that we agree to confirm the minutes of the previous meeting held on 26th of June with the updated advisory oversight group terms of reference as tabled in this meeting. I've got it there underneath that. Yeah. So people have got it on diligent, which you all have all had. So if I move that, can I have a seconder? Councillor Duncan. Any questions? All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Carried. Mayor's report, make it short. We've had the local government conference, airport awards, civic awards. The Motoranga Wardens, who are down at the train station, had their first year. Huge success, that's working really well. I had the Pacific Women in Business mini conference. We've done the planting at Whittireia Restoration for their 20 years for Robin Smith, so it was congratulations to her and her team. I had a dinner to celebrate, obviously, Taku for his New Year's honour, which was great, and off to the graduation this afternoon. So, Taku, anything from you? You need to keep checking my posts because they're still writing to you every day. No petitions. So we'll move to committee recommendations. So, Councillor Trillin.
I'll move that council accept the committee recommendations of Te Puna Kōrero from the 24th of July 2025.
Seconded by Councillor, Hayward. Yep. All those in favour? All those against? Carried. So we move to our first report, 11.1, Deliberations, Lyttelton Carpark. I am just going to move that we put it on the table because I am very aware there's a lot of discussion around this. So I'll move it to put it on the table, seconded by Councillor Ford. And now I'm open for discussion because there is a number of people wanting different things. So let's have a discussion. Councillor Duncan.
Yeah. Look, the more I read this report, the more I was concerned about it. I couldn't help thinking that the range of people that we sought the submissions from was rather restricted. In fact, all we went to were people who had a vested interest in keeping the parking there. When the cost of it was going to be borne by the ratepayers. So the financial implications on page 29 tell us that improvements to the area are all unbudgeted, but that we can reprioritise within the capital budget to carry out the work. So what that means then is that all the potholes and things from all the parts of the city that people are always complaining about are going to be forgotten about while we put all this money into buying CCTV cameras so that these people can keep parking in that area. I think that's a bad idea. I'd like to see option 4 put in saying maintain the status quo.
So are you wanting to move that now?
Can I?
Is that amendment, or are you happy to have...
I'm happy to have discussion.
The rules around it, actually, I'm open for discussion. I can't speak again, so I need to do it. Yeah. You need to do it as an amendment now then.
Oh, okay, yep.
Okay, so you move, we have option 4,
yep.
Status quo.
It stays as it is.
Stays as status quo, okay. And seconded by Councillor We Happy. You want to speak to it again?
Pretty clear what I was saying there is that I think if we're going to talk about spending that kind of money and moving money from budgets for other parts of the area, then we need to talk to the whole community about it and not just to the people who actually get free parking there or whatever.
Okay, Councillor We Happy.
Thank you. I completely support option 4. This is one of the only places in Porirua where there is free parking. It is the furthest point away if you're thinking about the CBD. We've got other stuff that we need to worry about instead of spending money resealing and putting CCTV there and everything like that. I'm going to read the room from when we had our submissions, and I can tell you that most, and even though it was a small number, agreed with option 2C, which is status quo, all day free parking. So I am in favour of the amendment, and I will be voting option 2 down.
Okay, so we're still talking to the amendment. Councillor Trillin.
Yeah, just a question. Could I I'd like a slightly better understanding of substantively what is different between the proposed amendment and what is currently option 2C, or I think that's option 3. So option 3 being all-day free casual car parking with leased car parking. So this is just no leased car parking and no improvements. Am I understanding that correctly?
So that includes CCTV cameras, resealing, and painting new lines and everything on the initial motion. What I'm saying is don't do anything there. Greater Wellington is still going to be dumping all their gravel on there, riding trucks and things over it. It'd be costing us a fortune to maintain those things. So just leave it as it is and people park there at their own risk.
Could we have some officer comment just about, I guess, that the implications of if we were to go down that route? And I guess I'll just forecast by saying of the options presented in the paper, I am currently leaning towards the recommended option, but I would be interested in hearing what officers have to say about what has been proposed.
Which one of you?
I guess this site has been a bit of a running sore for us for some time now. If you are prepared to kind of accept the risk and consequences of doing that, it's your call. Obviously, our advice is not to do that, but end of the day, I guess we just have to accept the risk, the current risk that we have about an informal arrangement we have in a part of the city that actually is potentially financially more favourable for the council.
At what cost to do it, though? Yeah. That's what's missing.
Or there's something we can have a look at. Yep.
Could we understand just a little bit more about the risks and consequences of doing this? What are the what's the worst case scenario?
There are no terrible scenarios here, but in terms of a worst case scenario, inequity about some people receiving free car parking and whereas others don't, basically on a first come first served basis. Some could perceive that as being not being equitable.
Okay.
Judy, have you got anything to add to that?
Just through the chair, just one other comment would be just the deterioration. If we're not, the pavement is quite in bad state now. That will continually get worse. Sorry, and although we do get approaches from time to time for the leased car parking there, which is, a potential loss opportunity as well.
So the deteriorating pavement that's there, if you could speak a little bit more, I guess, to what our concerns are about this. Is it getting so bad, or are we worried it's going to get so bad it's getting to the point of a genuine health and safety hazard, or is it more just it's a little bit of an eyesore, but it's not a big problem? How would you characterise it?
Can it just be filled with a load of gravel?
The advice I've had is that, so in the latest costings, we've had our contractor down there, and to do the mill and inlays, I'm not a transport specialist here, that part of it would be about 43,000. So to do the fixing the holes and getting the pavement to a reasonable condition, that's 43. Just that part, that's not all the other aspects such as the CCTV. To do the line marking would be another 4K, for example. So you could do, you could do some, but once again, it's reprioritisation of funds.
I guess just from a pure asset management perspective, it's our asset. We're not really maintaining it. It's low risk in terms of the consequences of doing that because it's not high traffic. But ideally, we'd be managing our asset a bit more proactively than we are at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, I see. I think in my position overall, if there is improvement that needs to be made, if there is investment that needs to be made, then I think that the asset needs to pay for itself. And so I think that's why I'm leaning more towards the proposed option. Obviously, no one wants to introduce more charges or fees or anything, but the money's got to come from somewhere, and I don't think if money's coming from anywhere, the exact comments before that you're making, Mike, around it being taken away from more high priority stuff if it has to happen. So I think I prefer your solution to some of the other options and bringing money from somewhere else. Overall, I think I'm still leaning towards the recommended option, so I think I'm going to vote opposed to that.
Jim's going to talk money, I think. for
No,
something.
not
No?
entirely, actually. I just want to give a slightly broader perspective, which is not really coming out in this paper and probably would need sort of broader consideration, and that is that we know that we've had interest from existing parties that own property within the CBD who are lacking access to leased parking. And the consequences of that is that they're having difficulty getting the tenancies filled. So I'm not suggesting that this is the only solution, but I think that because the proposal that Julie has put on the table there, that's in the paper, would include partial lease parking, that I think we'd need to take a broader view of where we could find that lease parking within the CBD. I have some thoughts about that, but it's not the appropriate time here to talk about that. So that's just a broader concern, and because we want our tenancies filled, otherwise, that's not great for the city. So that's just a broader concern, I guess.
Taku, did I see you with your hand? No. Kathleen, Councillor Fellow?
So I've got a couple of questions as well, but thanks, Mike, for bringing this, or sorry, Councillor Duncan, for bringing this to the table, because I wasn't overly that convinced about all the different recommendations that were in this report. But my question is, can officers please remind us why this got brought to the table in the first instance? Was it because there was potential buyers, or what was the situation?
So this site has sat on the disposal portfolio radar since 2014. So you'll recall when we did the initial consultation back in 2015, this site was one of the sites that we were looking at disposing of, and we consulted on that. And then during that period, a purchaser came in with an apartment build, and we were going to lease that car park. So the site as a whole was taken, kind of just put to the side while we worked through those commercial agreements. That's fallen away, so it was considered a time to put that back out there. Should we dispose of the site, or should we retain it? And for the retention option, there was obviously that suite of pay parking, status quo, lease car parking. So that's what brought it back onto the table.
Julie, do you want to add the subsequent approach made to us about the desire for some access to parking for supporting the tenancies arrangements in the city?
Yeah, so last year we received interest from a building owner about and indicating that he was finding it difficult, as Jim had pointed out, about the tenancies with pool cars. Lots of organisations have cars for their staff to use during the day, and they felt that they needed some lease car parking to be able to try and get some tenancies into some vacant floors in their building. So, and that kind of really brought it, okay, we're sitting on the site, we haven't made any movement since 2019 when that agreement, 2019 when that agreement fell away. Let's bring it back and look back at this site. Then obviously we heard from Greater Wellington and the importance of the site for the ramp, for the access to the stream, which is what has led me down to the resolution. The recommendation that I put forward today was to retain it because of the importance to the stream and the costs of forming a new access would have, but noting, of course, safety. If you're going to have cars parking there, making sure it's safe and secure for people's belongings.
Sorry, Juliet. So just to confirm, are you saying that the driver to get this on the table this year was because of those the landlords who want leases for car park leases, or was it because there was? Because I'm trying to remember back when it first came. I thought there was potential buyers I can't remember though.
Through the Mayor, Greater Wellington have been interested in purchasing the site a couple of years ago, but as you heard from them when they came and spoke at the last council meeting, they don't have approved funding to purchase this site. It was a number of things. It was the approach from building owners. It was we get comments from the public parking there from time to time about the potholes and that we're not looking after it. So a range of things brought this back onto my radar.
So there was only one potential seller? I thought, I just, yeah. Greater Regional, there wasn't a few? So I'm trying to remember back then. I thought I remembered there being more than one, but maybe.
No, it was this time. Yep, it was. Oh, yes, so that was before, but Kathleen's right, it's been on the, recently, yeah.
So, and I don't recall as well when we were talking about this, when it first came to the table this term, I don't recall the 450 ramp being mentioned in that conversation back then. Is that right? This is sort of just new to me when I saw it in this report.
No, that came back out of, sorry, through the Mayor, that came back out of the GW Greater Wellington submission and their attention to the Watercourses Agreement, the 1980-something Watercourses Agreement, which indicates the funding between the different authorities with regard to stream maintenance. And they had a report done in 2018 at the time that we were looking to sell the site previously, and we had a approach on the table. They did some work about looking at a new stream access, and at the time their study, so that's based on a 2018 study, the cost estimate was $450,000.
But then later we put in an easement. Is that right? A little like 2020s.
We
complicated things more. Yeah?
We registered an easement over the site at the request of GW in 2023. So that's been that was originally talked about in 2016 under the previous disposal conversations, and I finally registered it in 2023.
So what would be the situation, just say somebody came along and wanted to buy that land, what would be the situation with this ramp? Would we be required to put that in, or would that be on the owner working with GW? What's the situation around the actual disposing of the land?
We turned that disposal down, though, at the table.
I think if there's an existing easement across the land that is sold, that will become an issue between the new owner and Greater Wellington Regional Council.
Your last
just
speaking
the
to the
last
amendment
question.
still.
Yeah,
Yep.
sorry. The CCTV. Do we have that in other parking areas in the city?
We have a number of sites with CCTV. We're still working through what our broader approach is to that as emerging technology, is how we're going to use it as a public safety tool, but we're not ready to come to you with full advice on that just yet, Councillor.
Okay.
Councillor Liggett?
I'm not a fan of negative returns, and so I understand exactly where Councillor Trillin is coming from. I also wonder, I'm thinking about Jim's issue around strategic issues, particularly supporting tenancy arrangements. I think that is something that we should really bear in mind. I just had a question. I guess the reason why you perhaps haven't recommended that, option 2, all leased, is because the returns aren't as great. The leasing returns are less than, partial leasing and partial daily charges. Is that correct?
The fact that it's more to the fact with the detail around, if we're going to allow Greater Wellington to have access to it as they need it, it means we can only really do a month-by-month lease for the car park, because we will need to give notice and not allow lease car parking for that period of work. So it makes it quite complex. It's not to say people won't take that option up, but it does make the administration complex, that we'd have to have GW giving us 6 months notice or whatever, so we can give notice that the car park will not be available for 2 months for these months.
Is that the whole of the car park, or the whole car park is used for dumping the spoil?
They store.
So under any option, that becomes an issue. I mean, okay.
There would be times when we would have to remove car parking, just like we did in January, February
Right,
this
but
year.
so why have you suggested partially leased, and which addresses some of the strategic issues, and partially paid car parking? Is that because the returns are greater?
Correct.
Yeah.
Councillor Hayward.
Not speaking to the item yet, I'm going to ask two questions that will relate to that. And obviously there may be subs. The first one is, can officers provide, because I've just looked through the item again, what is the current cost to maintain the site as is, status quo?
I do not have that
Do
cost
we need
in front of me.
roading?
I have an indication, a rough order of cost of, I think it's about $3,000 from transport, but that was on the basis, I believe, that we'd done some surfacing inlay work. So I'm not sure on the current condition what the annual maintenance cost would be.
It's pretty low.
By low, sub.
Yeah.
By low, do you mean less than 10,000 per annum?
I do.
Okay. So the next question I have is going to get a bit curly, so bear with me. The issue is with regards to liability and the reasonable care test that councils, as a road controlling authority, are required around the condition of the road surface. Are we in a position with regards to any maintenance that we do not do, if we go for the option which has been the proposed amendment, around not meeting the reasonable care test in terms of maintenance for that site?
I don't believe this is legal roads, so the short answer to your question is no. There aren't the complications that you're hinting at aren't at play here.
And sorry, sub. And further to that, what are council's responsibilities in terms of liability for any vehicles that are damaged due to the condition of the road surface or the area, the surface on the ground, for lack of if it's not going to be considered a road within that area?
So that does happen from time to time on unformed road or in our other parks and other reserves. On a case-by-case basis, councillor, generally speaking, it's up to the owner or driver to take every available precaution. If we're at fault, then we'll deal with that on a case-by-case basis.
No more questions at this stage.
Through the mayor, I do wonder. I mean, one of the issues that we've got there is there's really no signage. It is our land. I'd suggest that.
I was going to ask if we could put a sign up saying park here at your own, to our own risk.
Yeah, it is. You can say that, and I would like to talk to my colleague more about what the legal consequences of health and safety outside of, that it's not a formal road. We are allowing people to park on a piece of our land. What health and safety responsibilities do we actually have under the Health and Safety Act?
You're asking us to make a decision today on something that you're telling us now that we don't know.
I'm
Sorry,
I just want to point to.
Make a decision.
I just want to say, are we clear, Mike, about that?
Oh, I'm sure in my mind, I think we aren't in a position to provide advice on that just now, Jim.
We aren't. Councillor
Point of
Hayward.
order. I seek leave, and I think this is a motion that does not require any weight, to let this item lie on the table. Health and safety, and our commitment to as a authority that is a business conducting business or entity requires us to be prudent in that regard.
I agree with you. All those in favour of putting one question? Yeah, well, I meant to put it first. I have to put it first, sorry. You were a bit late. So I've seconded Councillor Trillin. Yeah, but he was still talking. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you are right. So moved by Councillor Hayward, seconded by Councillor Trillin. All those in favour? Lying it on the table, so it will come back, because we need the advice on health. So it will come back. Okay. Thank you very much. That will come back. And you can ask your question then. Sorry, Councillor. 11.2, submission on the draft National Infrastructure Plan. I move that one, seconded by Councillor Waddle. Okay. We shouldn't feel rushed. Okay, would you like to speak to it?
Yeah, only brief comments,
Yep.
Madam Chair. Just to say that the plan is looking to address New Zealand's infrastructure challenges and that the plan will be provided to the government at the end of this year. Me and Mike have put together a submission on the things that we think needs to be said, but we're happy to add anything that councillors think need to be said as well. So, any questions?
Yes, Councillor Hayward.
Thank you for bringing the item to our attention. I do agree that the council should put in a submission. Have officers considered the scenario under which, whether it's a council or any other utility provider, should also, because of its oversized role, in effect almost a monopoly on the provision of those utilities, whether it's electricity or water or what have you, should be looking to support development of and improvements to the infrastructure that will enable a development that grows vertically as opposed to horizontally. What I'm talking about is brownfields developments in areas close to transport hubs in alignment with the National Policy Statement on Urban Development. Have officers considered that as part of its deliberation on this submission?
Our focus has been on horizontal infrastructure, given that's the business that we're in primarily. But in terms of urban planning and vertical construction, there's no reason that we couldn't include a note on that.
Mm-hmm. Would it be possible that as part of that commentary, noting that the numerous additional benefits to public utility and having within those designated urban areas that we just went through an annual plan process to help enable vertical growth near transport hubs, again in alignment with the National Policy Statement, that there is a cost that has to be borne, but that can also be offset by increasing the cost for development in those greenfield sites and areas of which we have very limited space left anyway as a city, generally speaking. But that would be the way of trying to offset the revenue. If you're incentivising by revenue, using revenue tools, in one space you have to meet the cost in another location. Could commentary be also included in that point as well?
Of course, yeah.
Excellent. No more questions, thank
Councillor
you.
Leggett.
Just commenting on that, Jeff, I'm sure this is a big piece of work by the Infrastructure Commission. I'm sure they've taken these issues into account already. In terms of this, I agree with the direction it's going in. Particularly like seeing, waste as a key infrastructure and climate issues. Waste is a very good point to make. The only question that I have is under needs-based government investment. Is that the one where you say challenges faced by fast-growing lower-income cities like Porirua? I do not think that is a factual statement.
Okay. Can amend that.
Parts of Porirua are lower income. Overall, I think Porirua's got the fourth highest.
You are correct. I was going to raise that.
The whole of New Zealand. So we need to be really careful about making sure that we are actually, parts of it true.
Through the chair, that's a fair point. Apologies for that.
No, don't apologise. I'm just raising it.
Councillor Trillin.
Thank you. Yeah, I really support everything in here. This is a really great submission. Thank you. There was just one thing I wondered if we could be a little bit more explicit about that I think we've skated close to, both through, so you've already highlighted under the transport system, the fragmentation and how it's planned and funded. And then there were also concerns about around the stable long-term government funding and projects being cancelled from government to government. The specific thing that I think has impacted potentially our infrastructure investment the most in the last year or so has been the dramatic change in funding allocation around any project to do with walking and cycling. I think something like that has meant that we've had to go and revisit all of our projects because of that change in government. I wonder if it's worth explicitly mentioning dramatic changes to central government funding undermining the strategic direction that's trying to be set out, because on one hand we're trying to do the right thing around sustainable infrastructure, but then we get the funding cut out from underneath us. So I think we're skating close to that in here. I wonder if it's just worth having an explicit comment about it.
Through the chair, yep, that's fine.
Cool, thank
Include that.
Councillor Hayward, you got another one?
Yes, sorry,
Yep.
it was only triggered by Councillor Leggett's point. Perhaps in order to assist and meet Councillor Leggett's very valuable contribution and correction, perhaps we could also reflect the issue of equity, which may be more of the issue with regards to a city which is, generally speaking, not that destitute, but does have areas where equity is a challenge. And as a city, we are responding to that.
Thank you. Yep. Done. Yes, Councillor Duncan?
I just wanted to comment on the transport part. We talked about the State Highway 1 and Kapiti rail line being key transport links, but I think State Highway 59 is equally as vital there, and it's probably worth mentioning as well in that instance.
Along with TG. Thank you. Yes. Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you very
Thank you for
much. So
feedback.
all those in favour? Those against? Carried. So we're going to move into public excluded. I will move that we move into public excluded, seconded by Councillor Ford. All those in favour? All those against? Carried. We'll just